right, welcome back. Welcome to another amazing wrestling show. I hope you guys are as glad to see me as much as I am so glad to see you guys. It's a huge week of wrestling. Got to be honest, this show is going to be honestly probably one of the biggest shows I've ever done. First, we're going to talk about our WWE Smackdown preview, but before we get into that, I was watching a little bit of Impact Wrestling via YouTube clips and stuff like that, and I gotta realize that I'm totally missing out. I'm definitely missing out on some Impact Wrestling. There's no doubt in my mind that I'm going to most likely get Access TV, and I don't know. I'm gonna be, I'm gonna jump right on into it because I don't know. For some strange reason, I kind of think of, of course you have WWE, but at the same time, you kind of have these other wrestling circuits that you're like, you really didn't really know much about. And the moment you actually pay attention, the moment you kind of, because week after week after week, and although I'm just watching clips of these guys and talking about them on Thursday and Friday nights, I'm kind of getting attached to these superstars. Like, I really honestly, I'm a huge wrestling fan, and I just see a lot of potential in Impact Wrestling Ring of Honor. Now you have the National Wrestling Alliance, so well, yeah, no, just the first, kind of thought there to kind of kick this off. Eric having an epiphany as the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast host. Thank you for tuning in to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We have a great show for you today lined up. We have a WWE Raw preview. We're also going to talk about our Thursday Night Wrestling review. And then we're going to jump into some AEW Double or Nothing predictions and analysis. And then after that, we're also going to talk about WWE's King and Queen of the Ring. We're going to talk about prediction and analysis as well. Fifth and final segment on every Friday night, just like you guys already know. I have my wrestling news roundup. I'm just going to give you guys a couple of cool wrestling news articles that's been kind of going viral in terms of the professional wrestling world that, kind of want to discuss, kind of think about, and kind of ponder around, just in case if you're at a party and someone asks you, hey, you like pro wrestling? And be like, oh, yeah, I remember Eric talking about this. Like, kind of like just a way to kind of spark conversation. You can never ever have, there's no such thing as too much knowledge. So, I'm here to give you some of that, some of that wrestling knowledge. So, but before we dive in deeper on any subject, either segment, I want to remind you guys that we get a bunch of questions that come in from viewers like you during the show. So to ensure that your question gets read on air in front of millions of people, remember to use the tips and donations link at the gsmcpodcast.net. Give me your questions, your statements, what you want to see, what you want to hear. Tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like. This podcast is just as much as, it's just as much as yours as it is mine. So, I'm only here to please you guys. I want to please you guys. Let me please you guys. I'm just kidding. No, move on. Let's move on before I get too passionate about pleasing you guys. But moving on forward, it really does help the show, guys. Here at the GSMC Sports Network, we love peace, love, and positivity. So leave a positive review, only positive stuff, just keeps the world going around. Generosity, it's going to keep the world go round and round and round. Definitely, one act of kindness can truly change the world. One small little like and subscribe. And hey, Eric, you're doing pretty good, bro. Your hair's getting a little long, and your shirt's too gray. I'm just kidding, no. But again, is the link is at the GSMC podcast.net. So yeah, go and shoot some questions, some statements. Give me a shout out of what state or city you're listening from, or even country. Oh my God, that'd be so crazy if this was international. Yeah. So let's go and jump right on into our first segment. We're going to talk about our WWE Smackdown preview. Obviously, this episode of Smackdown is taking place in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, so it's been taped. It's not necessarily live. But it's live on my, on the West Coast on YouTube TV right now. Can't wait to watch it. Can't wait to, kind of get that last little, kind of that last little punch in before we start at Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, King and Queen of the Ring, which honestly, I kind of get the feeling that WWE needs to really make this pay-per-view like pop. Because for the longest time, and I know this just from my perspective, during the Vince McMahon era, a lot of crown jewels and a lot of, the greatest main event ever, the greatest Royal Rumble or whatever it was called, it kind of fell wayside. It kind of did not get that great of, of audience or fan reaction, favorable reactions. And I just think Paul Levesque is really going to take this personal. And I feel like he's going to do whatever he can to ensure that this is going to be the best damn show that you've ever seen in your whole entire life in terms of, Saudi Arabia and stuff like that. Because if you look at the match card, and we are going to preview the match card, there's only 4 or 5 matches. So these matches are going to be huge. Definitely, definitely, and definitely. So, we're going to jump right into that. But first, let's talk about SmackDown. One stop before WWE King and Queen of the Ring. So we have Randy Orton against Tama Tonga. After what happened on last week on Raw, I really thought Jey Uso was going to probably get the best of Gunther because Gunther at first kind of reminded me of I thought for sure he was going to jump into the King of the Ring eventually. But then you kind of had Tama Tonga move on to face Randy Orton. And the moment that happened, I kind of thought to myself, I was like, wait, is there a way Jey Uso and Tama Tonga could fight each other without being on the same show? Kind of having a foreshadow, a little, pre-flame for a Bloodline Civil War kind of a storyline. So I kind of thought that was going to happen, but ultimately that did not happen. You saw Gunther move on. So now I kind of have confidence to say I think Randy Orton's going to get the win because for me, I feel like there's no real animosity or there's no real point of Tama Tonga. Not real point because obviously winning the King of the Ring would do wonders for Tama Tonga and the Bloodline. Their status in the WWE, their out, their perspective, what people look at him as. But I don't know. I think Gunther's going to be in the finals. If Gunther fights against Tama Tonga, I feel like it's just going to be an ass whooping. You need the Randy Orton. You need the RKO. The three most feared letters in the professional wrestling industry is RKO, the Viper, the Legend Killer, against Gunther. Although Randy Orton has been portrayed as hurt, I don't know if it's kayfabe. Obviously, I wish well upon any wrestlers that jump inside the square circle on any organization. But right now, I feel like it's kind of important to kind of have Randy and Gunther go at it, especially with what Triple H said about from now on, the King and Queen of the Ring winners will have a title shot heading towards SummerSlam. So, obviously, I'm not trying to say this just to kind of prove my prediction right about SummerSlam, about Gunther, taking on Cody Rhodes. I think this is more or less I feel like Randy Orton, that's an accomplishment that has not had. The King of the Ring winner. So there's obviously a lot on the line for the Legend Killer. He's not going to take this by the wayside. He's not going to take this laying down. It's going to be a great fight. I can anticipate, that match going probably more than I would say around the 20-minute mark. But, like I said, we'll jump into it a little more, closer along the edge. But my ultimate prediction is Randy Orton moves on and defeats Tama Tonga. Next, we have the Queen of the Ring qualifying match. We have Bianca Belair, Nia Jax. Bianca Belair has been hinting at her knee being injured for the longest time. Nia Jax is on an absolute rampage, the irresistible force, ever since she made it back to WWE and ever since Belair's partner, Jade Cargill, eliminated Nia Jax during the Women's Royal Rumble in 2024. It kind of, built up a lot of bad and negative animosity between the two. I'm pretty sure that Nia Jax is absolutely infuriated and she's going to take it out on Bianca. I think there's going to be a point in the match where Bianca might have that shed of light, that shred of hope that this could possibly go her way. But ultimately, you're going to see Nia Jax being the ultimate opportunistic woman, which you should in terms of fighting in terms of WWE. I think even you gotta go after what irks the other and what Bianca Belair said in a promo last SmackDown that I say, hey y'all, I'm gonna admit right now that my knee is not at 100%. Kind of giving, not giving an excuse or not giving leeway for Nia Jax to win. I think it's kind of a way for Nia Jax to kind of pick apart her opponent, focus on that knee, and you're gonna see that knee being targeted tonight. So it's gonna be interesting to see, how Jade and Bianca bounce back. But both of them are out of the Queen of the Ring. So maybe perhaps next week on SmackDown, they can set up a women's tag team match. Like I said before, I don't really know how injured Bianca Belair could possibly be, but It's a possibility. It's definitely a possibility but my ultimate prediction on my preview, I feel like Nia Jax makes the most sense here. You kind of have a David versus Goliath story heading toward the WWE Queen of the Ring in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. Lyra Valkyria, the ultimate underdog, recently being drafted in the WWE draft by Raw, and you have the veteran Nia Jax, the irresistible force, the dominant, the infuriated, the just massive, powerful powerhouse that is Nia Jax. So it's going to be interesting to see how Lyra Valkyrie, goes against Nia Jax if Nia Jax wins. Like I said before, I have not checked social media, no TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, whatever. So I have not seen a single shred of a WWE content in terms of SmackDown. Can't wait to watch it as soon as I get done with this podcast. Of course, you can always shoot chats. Tell me your opinions about, what I'm saying. Please, no spoilers. But, if you have to get it off your chest, like I would appreciate. I'm just kidding. But no, it's gonna be a good match. I feel it's good. If I feel like it's gonna be a good match. Next, you see Bailey fight Chelsea Green. Chelsea Green called Bailey super boring, like kind of like Piper Niven and stuff like that. Classic Chelsea Green. Chelsea Green recently coming off of a loss in the WWE NXT for Roxanne Perez's a women's world heavyweight championship. But I like Chelsea Green. She does really good as a heel. Obviously, not really the championship type. I can kind of see her as maybe like a WWE Women's North American Champion that could possibly be like maybe in the future for her. But her as a tag team with Piper Niven, she kind of showed signs that her and the other girl from NXT, the girl that, is all about shine and she comes out looking like a queen and like I don't know, they kind of showed some pretty good chemistry. Like she could definitely tag team up with her and Piper Niven can make her way into the singles spouts, which would kind of I feel like that would be bad for Piper Niven in terms of just her overall status in the WWE. It's kind of sad to say, but I feel like the only reason why Niven is kind of relatable and kind of like in the the spotlight of the WWE women's division is because of Chelsea Green. So they want to keep that tag team together. Definitely going to have them fight in the future. But like I said before, I really hope that Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill lose those championships sooner than later because I feel like ultimately that would open up the women's division, A, B, the women's tag division. I feel like that would be probably the best for WWE moving forward. So, right next we have AJ Styles. AJ Styles is going to meet with the general manager Nick Aldis. Last week, AJ Styles kind of had a heart to heart moment. Kind of was like realizing like, look, everything I'm doing right now, it's not causing me success. It's causing me major, major failure. I have not won a good match. He lost against Randy Orton, lost against Cody Rhodes, lost against the LA Knight, and it's starting to eat him up because AJ Styles has been super successful and kind of thinking about it right now. You think about the title picture, the World Heavyweight and the WWE Undisputed, and there's really no room for AJ Styles right now. There's really no room for AJ Styles, right? Obviously, like you don't want to let him go. You will never ever let AJ Styles sign anywhere else because I guarantee you, if he signs with AEW, that would be absolutely huge. Probably one of the biggest signings ever since AEW surfaced in 2019. But I think WWE needs to find a way to kind of incorporate an AJ Styles you know, storyline. He's not like any other superstar. He doesn't need a belt. He doesn't need a kick-ass promotion. He's AJ Styles. He's the phenomenal AJ Styles. He just goes out there and builds a promo just with his presence. Like he doesn't have to have a title, and that's something that a lot of WWE creative like, oh, how are we gonna get a title back on AJ Styles? You really honestly don't. Maybe you can have him moving forward, like go for a number one contendership, but probably when he went against Cody Rhodes straight up as Cody Rhodes finished his story at WrestleMania 40, and you had one of the best singles match in wrestling history. Like you had, like I said, kind of mentioned it a couple of podcasts ago, how Will Ospreay was saying how him and Bryan Danielson fighting at Dynasty was one of the best matches, one of the best wrestling matches in the whole entire wrestling industry. And I'm not disputing that fact. It was a good match. It was great. But this match, especially after Will Ospreay, his comments toward Triple H, I feel like this was Triple H's way of kind of like, kind of like just sticking it to him, like, oh yeah, you think you put on the best match? I'm gonna get two of the best guys that I have, AJ Styles and the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. So AJ Styles has a lot of good things headed toward him. Definitely don't think that he's out of gas quite just yet, but I'm excited to kind of find out what Nick Aldis, says to AJ Styles. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. Well, guys, don't go anywhere. We're going to talk about our Thursday night wrestling review. The Ring of Impact, the world of Impact Wrestling and Ring of Honor is exposed. So, hey, don't go anywhere.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits, some loose shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip, you choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
All right. Welcome back to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. First segment, we recently talked about WWE Smackdown preview. Obviously, it's airing right now. Can't wait to watch it. Have not watched a single shred of wrestling content, from TikTok, Twitter, all the social media platforms, just so I don't get a spoiler, just so I, we're in this together. If y'all haven't watched it yet and you guys stuck to my show before watching the the event. So hey, gotta give kudos to you guys. You guys are y'all my friends. So we're gonna move on though. We have Thursday night wrestling review. Before we go on any further, I want to remind you guys to use the tips and donations link at the gsmcpodcast.net. You can use this link to submit your questions. This puts your questions up on top so I can see it. We can have a nice little back and forth conversation about it. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. Tell me what you want to see happen on SmackDown. Talk about, Impact Wrestling, Ring of Honor, and, just speak your minds. Speak your minds. There's no wrong answers in terms of wrestling. Wrestling's mostly important basically because it's like this, you're in this world of creativity. Professional wrestling is it's kind of an art form. It's kind of an art form. It is entertainment. It's one of the best damn entertainment, kind of, totem poles in terms of, just I don't want to say live because a lot of people don't really respect professional wrestling, but just something that a lot of people kind of look forward to, and those who do love watching it, they kind of hold it dear to their heart. So definitely, a lot of wrestling fans, when you mention wrestling, it's something that just makes them smile and just like I don't know, like you hear Jim Ross's voice in the background. You remember seeing John Cena, Triple H on that screen, AJ Styles, we just got done talking about him, and now Cody Rhodes. So it's going to be interesting kind of moving forward. Well, so honestly, leave a positive review here at the GSMC Sports Network. We love peace, love, and positivity all the way. Like I said before, the link is at the GSMC podcast.net. So let's go ahead and move on here. We have our Thursday night wrestling review. So let's go ahead and start off with our TNA Impact. Like I said before, Matt Hardy and Ryan Nemeth were looking for blood. We're looking for revenge after the system took out, Ryan's brother, the wanted man, Nick Nemeth, and ultimately you saw Matt Hardy do what he had to do. It was very impressive by Ryan. I was very impressed by Ryan in terms of the system and stuff like that. He came out guns blazing. A lot of these superstars like the broken Matt Hardy and Nick Nemeth. I keep wanting to say Nick Nemeth. Ryan Nemeth hit a huge DDT, and he tagged in the broken Matt Hardy, and after that. It was just basically, kind of history. You had Matt Hardy and Ryan Nemeth defeat the system. So I thought that was, super dope. Definitely, gotta love that. And I don't know, like you have to like Nick Nemeth is I guess he was seen. He made it back to the impact zone, which is awesome. Definitely love the fact that he's back. So yeah. A lot of other stuff kind of happened as well. You kind of saw Dashing Chris Bay and Ace Austin are going to settle their differences inside the ring. Um, the Rascals are in action, and they were in action on TNA Impact. It's definitely awesome. A lot of Matt Hardy, a lot of Nick and Ryan Nemeth, which is cool. Which is cool because you kind of have those famous brothers, those people, those wrestlers that just draw you in. And I gotta be honest, when Dolph Ziggler left the WWE, I felt like that was a huge loss. But of course, he was let go during the Vince McMahon era. I bet you Triple H is waiting, he's chomping at the bits until Nick's contract is up, and he's gonna probably hit him back up. It would be absolutely awesome to see him back in the WWE. But he has so much success in the Impact, so maybe sometimes, although some wrestlers take a step away from the WWE and kind of branch out, kind of get better, and I don't know, you just like what, you got to tip your hat to him. So yeah. So we saw the Rascals against Sinner and Saint. Obviously, Sinner and Saint did not do enough to defeat the Rascals. Love the Rascals. I kind of liked how Steve Macklin, ambushes them from behind, kind of creating this future rivalry between the two, and just between just the group themselves. And Macklin recently has been just kind of like he's kind of going Ahab. You know what I mean? Like he's on a mission. He's a man on a mission. He wants to make sure that he's people respect him. People respect the main man, Steve Macklin. So there's a lot of good stuff. The Good Hands fought Cody Deaner and Jake Something. Jake Something. I feel like he's definitely one of the most. He's one of the rising stars in Impact Wrestling. Although he does have a lot of experience, and I know. I just whenever I watch his highlights and stuff like that. Whenever he recently, he fights in title matches. He's in main card events. He's in mid card events. Title matches and stuff like that. So it's not like he's just that kind of like, not, I don't want to say like a jobber, but I love Jake Something. Him and Cody Deaner were able to, build momentum toward against all odds and defeat the Good Hands. So definitely thought that was, pretty badass. And then we have Jordan Grace. Jordan Grace she defeated Marty Bell. Marty Bell recently came back from, she came back, and her first match she wanted to take on the TNA Knockouts. Her prestigious reign, how great and how dominant Jordan Grace. I don't know what she was thinking, man. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's like I don't even know, man. That's insane. That's like bringing a switchblade into like a bazooka fight. You don't want any of that. You know what I mean? Next, we saw Jody Threat and Danny Luna against Lars and Tasha Steeles. Overall, it was a pretty good match. Jody Threat got a little too wild. Ultimately, you saw Tasha Steeles get the better of Jody Threat, which kind of sucks for Spitfire, because I love Spitfire as the TNA Knockouts tag team champions. But Tasha Steeles, she's building up momentum too. There's no doubt that she's going to be the next one to fight Jordan Grace. So yeah, next we saw Speedball Mountain. You saw Mike Bailey against Trent Stevens. Obviously, this was for the number one contendership for the X Division Championship at against All Odds with Mustafa Ali, and it was a good match. These guys, obviously, they're tag team partners. They kept it, they kept it real G. I kind of really liked it. I definitely loved how, although these guys, there was actually, it seemed like there was real tension building between the two. Like I said before, I really hope this isn't a way for wrestling promoters to be like, oh, let's, do singles pushes and stuff like that, because sometimes it's better when tag team stars stay tag team stars. And you saw Trent Seven defeat Speedball Mike Bailey, so now he will be fighting at against all odds against Mustafa Ali. Obviously, I love Speedball Mountain, so I'm going to be, kind of backing him up there. So, yeah, let's do it. So moving on to Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor, the World Television Champion Kyle Fletcher once again proves to be dominant, impressive, and just one of the best wrestlers. I did a power rankings last Monday, and he was on there. He was on there for a reason. He's this guy's going to be a huge star. Not that he isn't already, but he's going to be great. The Workhorsemen, JD Drake and Anthony Henry defeated the Spanish Announce Project Angelico and Serpentico. Nyla Rose defeated Rhea Von Slasher. Santam Singh defeated Jimmy Jacobs. Shane Taylor and Anthony Ogogo defeated Artemis Spencer and John Cruz. Daddy Magic defeated Mike Bennett, which was kind of surprising. Top Flight, Action Andretti, and Lee Johnson defeated Griff Garrison, Cole, Carter, Tony Nese, and obviously the premier athletes. So definitely thought it was a good couple episodes. Honor Club, definitely about the pop. I think they have a super card coming up. In mid-June, I believe it is. Don't quote me on that. But you just have a lot of these young guys, like I was talking about at the beginning of the show. You like Cole Carter. I saw Cole Carter, a couple of his highlights and stuff like that. And I love how TNA is kind of just like they're changing the game. I love the way how they kind of have their matches kind of set up. It's just not your necessary. It's not your regular wrestling show. So whenever you watch Impact Wrestling, you're in for like something absolutely shocking. Also, the Ring of Honor as well. So yeah, honestly, if you want to kind of branch out from that traditional wrestling, tune into Impact Wrestling, Ring of Honor. Every Thursday night, Ring of Honor, I believe I think there's a YouTube. I think they're live on YouTube, and TNA live on Access TV. So, yeah. So, guys, don't go anywhere. Our next segment, we're going to talk about our AEW Double or Nothing preview. We're going to talk about our predictions and analysis. So, hey, don't go anywhere.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.
All right. Welcome back to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Just kind of reflect on what we talked about real quick. We talked about our WWE Smackdown preview. We also talked about our Thursday Night Wrestling review. And we're going to jump into AEW's Double or Nothing. So it's going to be a great pay-per-view. Double or Nothing is the first. But just kind of before we move forward, I want to remind you guys to tip and donate. Give me your chats. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. Use the tips and donations link at the GSMC podcast.net with your questions. So don't be too shy. Go ahead and tell me how you guys feel. Tell me what you guys want to kind of see and hear in terms of a wrestling podcast. Because yeah. So let's go ahead and get this started. First, we're going to talk about the AEW International Championship match between Roderick Strong and Will Ospreay. Like I said on my last podcast, Will Ospreay is impressive. Definitely one of the biggest wrestlers. That's I love that he's on AEW, and I know WWE had a shot to get him, but I feel like he's right where he needs to be. Right now, he's kind of at that spot where AEW they need viewership, they need ratings increase, which they are. So that's I feel like they're doing a great job with that. Keep Will Ospreay in the ring, keep him in good promos. So honestly, you do have the Undisputed Kingdom backing Roderick Strong. You saw on Dynamite how Wardlow just absolutely took out Will Ospreay. This is going to be a tough fight. This is going to be a huge battle, but ultimately, God, I want to say the underdog, but then Will Ospreay isn't really the underdog. I feel like he's the overdog. He's the favorite. But since Roderick Strong has a bunch of his goons that will back him, I feel like he's the underdog. So honestly, this is a tough prediction, but I'm gonna go ahead and say that Will Ospreay becomes the new AEW International Champion. It's over, Roderick. Your time has come, bro. So Roderick Strong loses his AEW International Championship Sunday against Will Ospreay. All right, next we have the timeless Tony Storm against Serena Deeb. This match, gotta throw respect on Serena Deeb because timeless Tony Storm, she's on a roll right now. She's absolutely dominant. She's portrayed as kind of like a back heel, but she's could be a baby face too. She's definitely like she's in that rare breed where she could be kind of visualized, that anybody, kind of wants to think like, hey, do you like Tony Storm? Yeah. Do you like Tony Storm? Nah, not really. Like, it doesn't really matter. She's going to achieve success, wherever, the perspectives of the wrestling fans go. So, love Serena Deeb. I loved her promo on, Dynamite. It was kind of cool. She, threw the high heel in her face. It's going to be interesting. We do have Rampage on tonight as well. Sorry I didn't, let you guys know that as well. So there could be more like, promoting for, their storyline and stuff like that for it to ultimately end at Double or Nothing. But I'm going to go ahead and say my prediction is I feel like Toni Storm's going to win. She continues her momentum with the title. So yeah, definitely excited to see that. Next, we have Adam Copeland and Malachi Black for the TNT AEW Championship in a barbed wire steel cage match. I've never seen a barbed wire steel cage match except for maybe in like CZW or ECW. So can't wait to see it. Malachi Black is absolutely heartless. He's ferocious. And then you have Adam Copeland, who's genuinely, kind of balanced. But if you push him over to the edge, you can see how sick and crazy this bastard could possibly be. So I want to see Adam Copeland kind of tap into that, that old brood, that old brutality. So I think Adam Copeland retains the TNT championship against, House of Black's leader, Malachi Black. So, love Adam Copeland. Definitely love that. Even at his age, he's still able to put on some good promos and great matches. All right, so we have the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship match between Konosuke Takeshita against Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley helped out Matt Sydal on AEW Dynamite. Like I said before, we do have Rampage and Collision. Rampage tonight, Collision tomorrow. So there could be a lot more different like promos. It could be because right now it seems like Jon Moxley has, Konosuke kind of on the ropes here. Kind of, he kind of get the best of him. He kind of has the momentum on his side, the wild thing. I think the best wrestler is going to come out the victor, and I think Jon Moxley is going to retain this championship. It's going to be a great fight. I would probably place it probably around 15 minutes and stuff or something like that. Jon Moxley is going to end up winning. You'll probably see, Don Callis try to find a way to kind of screw over Jon, but it's not going to work. It's not going to work. Ultimately, you're going to see Moxley retain here. So, love that. All right, and now we have the Bastard Pack and Death Triangle reuniting on AEW Dynamite, and they're gonna fight the Bang Bang Gang. They're the unified trios champion. Switchblade Jay White is absolutely on fire right now, and I honestly I loved how they came back with the Pack. I thought that was pretty badass, but got to be kind of real with it. I feel like the Bang Bang Gang is going to retain their trios unified championships at Double or Nothing. So that was my, opinion on that. So next we have Orange Cassidy against Trent Beretta, former best friends. Obviously, you don't see Chuck Taylor. His in-ring, career has been, ended by Trent Beretta. Total heel, total jerk. So I think freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy will pick up the victory against his former best friend. It's about time. It's about time. Trent Beretta, he's been running absolutely rampant. Can't have that. Nope, nope, can't have that no more. Orange Cassidy needs to do whatever he has to do to win this match because there's a lot of people backing him. You have the AEW universe, you probably have Chuck Taylor, clapping his hands, hoping for Orange Cassidy to kind of put it together and win. So I think Orange Cassidy is going to take down Beretta, and he's gonna take down his former best friend. So good for him. So we have a triple threat match for the FTW Championship. You have the Learning Tree, Chris Jericho, Fighting Hook, fighting Katsuyori Shibata. I think this is going to be a great match. Like my philosophy on wrestling is, I feel like having a triple threat match kind of gives the champion, usually the heel, kind of like a way out. Like, you know what I mean? Kind of like a way to kind of, slither and shimmy his way out of the match with like kind of being unscathed. Essentially, this is Hook's rematch. So after this, if the handsome devil Hook does not find a way to beat down the Learning Tree and his protege Katsuyori Shibata, it could be bad. He's gonna have to start all the way on the bottom. But of course, you can bet your ass that Big Bill, that big tall oak tree that the Learning Tree has on his side is going to help. So I definitely think Chris Jericho will retain, the championship at Double or Nothing. He's still AEW FTW champion, Chris Jericho. All right, next we have probably one of the biggest matches on the card. Willow of Nightingale against Mercedes Moné. Mercedes Moné's first match ever since she made her debut at Big Business. And it's so good. This is so I don't want Willow to lose. I feel like right now she's just the perfect champion. She's the perfect TBS champion against Mercedes Moné. Mercedes Moné has been cutting the same promo over and over and over again. Oh God, this is probably going to be one of the biggest matches that I'm going to pay attention to. Like I said, I ever since Jim Ross was kind of told that he wasn't going to be at announcing there because he was admitted to the hospital. Hope he's doing good. Obviously, his help is of top priority. Um, so I think I still might rent it. It is $59.99 on Bleacher Report on pay-per-view. So you know what? I would, but then again, I might jinx it, and then Willow might lose, and I'll be like cursing myself in the mirror, be like, "You did this," wiping my tears away. I'm like, "What?" It's like, no, I'm just kidding. But for real though, no. But I don't want Mercedes Moné to win. I love Mercedes Moné. It's cool. She's cool and all. But right now, I feel like it's Willow's time. I feel like it's time for Willow, to kind of, obviously you brought Mercedes Moné and totally totally, she's a star. She's a total superstar. She's absolutely blown up in the wrestling district, also in the entertainment. But oh god, this is gonna honestly, I don't really know how this match is gonna go. Hoping Willow wins, but if Mercedes Moné wins, I wouldn't be too totally surprised. Next, we have Anarchy in the Arena. We have Darby Allin, Bryan Danielson, and FTR against the Young Bucks. Matthew and Nicholas Jackson against Kazuchika Okada and Jack Perry. Obviously, I really honestly want Darby Allin to win because I love how he came out with a flamethrower and was ready to like burn faces and stuff like that. But it's going to be a great match. This match is there's going to be blood. There's going to be, it's going to be highly Attitude Era-esque. I feel like, this is probably going to be one of the most brutal matches on the card. And we have a barbed wire steel cage match between Adam Copeland and Malachi Black for the TNT Championship. So that just shows how crazy this match is going to be. These guys are going to fight up and down the arena. I don't think it's an elimination match. I think it's one pin, one submission, and that's it. I know right now it's a triple main event, but I know how, cocky the EVPs could possibly be. And there's no doubt in my mind that this match will probably end up in the main event main card. But if I had to put a prediction on it, you kind of have to keep the Elite's dominance kind of going here. You kind of have to keep them going here because I would say that if FTR, Darby Allin, and Bryan Danielson win, it would kind of leave AEW kind of open for like a new kind of reorder kind of thing like that. I know you saw Tony Khan drop off Darby Allin, which kind of be like, okay, now cool, okay, that Tony Khan's back. He's the vice president. But you also have Kenny Omega out. He recently undergone surgery for his injury, so he's going to be out for a pretty long time. MJF has been rumored to come back to AEW. There is going to be a Casino Royale battle to determine who's going to challenge Swerve Strickland or Christian Cage for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. That's going to happen at Double or Nothing. Now, since Tony Khan kind of admits something big's gonna happen, there's a possibility that maybe MJF makes his appearance, makes his return back to AEW at Double or Nothing. That could possibly be it, because Double or Nothing is probably one of the biggest events in AEW in their stable of main events, pay-per-views and whatnot, because this was their first one, 2019. This was kind of like their homecoming, you know what I mean? So it's going to be a great match, but if I had to put a prediction on it, I think the Elite is going to win. So finally, we have Swerve Strickland. He's been getting his ass kicked week in and week out. Finally, last week on Dynamite, and Wednesday on Dynamite, he was able to finally take down Christian Cage in the Patriarchy, getting the better of him. This bout, of course, before Double or Nothing. So I love Christian Cage, but this is going to be one of those matches that I feel like Swerve has obviously proved himself as a competitor inside the ring. He kind of was not really lacking on the promo and the vocal skills kind of thing, but I feel like a lot of people saw Swerve Strickland defeat Samoa Joe and we're kind of like still in unbelievance. They're kind of like, dude, I can't believe they gave him the title. Like, who the hell is this guy? This guy was, he was a rapper. He hosts a podcast, and now he's holding the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. So I feel like Christian Cage is kind of like that veteran, kind of known for being a badass, has that, respect and reputation from the fans to be like, look, if Swerve Strickland defeats Christian Cage in a good, hard-fought wrestling match, you're going to get a lot of respect for Swerve. So I see Swerve Strickland retaining his AEW World Heavyweight Championship, taking the gold, but most importantly, taking the respect. So yeah, we have an amazing pay-per-view coming May 26th on Sunday. Make sure you order it on Bleacher Report, $49.99. That's not bad. That's not bad. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to watching that, and can't wait to see if my predictions come true. So guys, don't go anywhere. Since we previewed AEW's pay-per-view this weekend, now we're going to preview the WWE King and Queen of the Ring predictions and analysis. So hey, don't go anywhere.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
All right. Welcome back to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your boy E here, the host, coming to you live every Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern time. So always, remember to, set an alarm on your phone and be like, dude, I got to watch that weird white guy that talks about wrestling all the time. I'm just kidding. No. We're going to go ahead and jump into it. We're running out of time here rapidly, but just kind of reflect on what we talked about. We talked about, our WWE Smackdown preview. I have not watched a single shred of wrestling, so it's hot takes. Then we moved on to our Thursday Night Wrestling review, where we talked about Impact Wrestling, Ring of Honor. So how kind of the younger kind of promotions are finding a way to ultimately kind of like show a different side of wrestling that I feel like a lot of people should probably check into, especially, professional wrestling fans. A lot of people thought TNA died when Kurt Angle, Sting, AJ Styles, Jay Lethal, Christopher Daniels, once when they all left. But there's a lot of good young talent on there. So make sure you kind of check that out. Segment 3, we talked about our AEW, a double or nothing preview, predictions and analysis. So we're going to get into our WWE King and Queen of the Ring in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. Can't wait to tell you guys, my thoughts about this pay-per-view. I don't know if it's going to be totally correct. I hope I don't steer you guys the wrong way. And if you guys have any chats or any predictions yourself, throw them in the chat. I would love to kind of hear from you guys. I would love to kind of ponder on what you guys have to say. Like, I know you guys are watching my show and you'd be like, oh, this, but I feel like I don't always have all the answers. Professional wrestling is beautiful because it has that aesthetic beauty. It's like poetry. It could, you can kind of, there's different perspectives. Like a lot of people read poetry or read like a passage or a narrative or something like that and have different, kind of thoughts and opinions, and like all those opinions kind of stew up. And the best way we can come to a nice, nice solidarity is to kind of, talk about it. It's kind of important to talk about it. So yeah, go ahead and shoot me those chats. So moving forward, running out of time. Sorry guys. We have our triple threat match for the Intercontinental Championship. Sami Zayn defends his championship against the newly heel Alpha Academy's tyrant Chad Gable against the Australian powerhouse Bronson Reed. Man, honestly, I feel like Chad Gable is going to throw some heavy haymakers in this fight. It's going to be, kind of going to be one of those put up or shut up matches. Feel bad for Bronson Reed because I feel like there's no way he can possibly win this match. But he's going to show up as dominant. The match is going to show up as Bronson Reed being dominant, like totally kicking ass, which kind of will compensate for why he will lose the match. And you're going to see Sami Zayn about to probably win, about to haluva kick Chad Gable, and I can imagine Otis having just a battle within himself. He can either help Chad Gable win the belt back, or he could perhaps find a way to kind of screw over Chad Gable, thus creating kind of like a feud that's going to go into SummerSlam. But since I really honestly can't think of another Intercontinental Champion, kind of battle that would fit Sami Zayn at this moment, maybe perhaps Jey Uso, but I don't think that's really kind of like in the script, so to speak. But if Chad Gable wins the Intercontinental Championship due to an interference by Otis, Sami Zayn's going to be absolutely pissed off at Otis. Chad Gable's he's going to love Otis. And I think ultimately that's when Otis will probably turn his back on Chad Gable and be like, I'm coming for your Intercontinental Championship. That's the only reason why you won it is because of me. And then, that will kind of, help kind of, blossom into something beautiful. Next, we have Becky Lynch against Liv Morgan. Becky Lynch ultimately has done a fantastic job as the WWE World's Women's Heavyweight Champion after Rhea Ripley kind of went down. And I still feel like they're kind of holding that belt for Rhea Ripley. And the thing that would make the most sense is for Liv Morgan to beat Becky Lynch at King and Queen of the Ring. I know, just talking about it kind of makes my blood boil because I know Liv Morgan, she has the potential to be so great. But she botches moves. She has crappy promos. So definitely something that she has to fix. Maybe having a strap on her could help her get better. And then you have the whole thing with, Dirty Dom and Rhea Ripley coming back, challenging her at SummerSlam would probably be the best marketable decision, in my opinion. So, in my opinion, and in my, prediction, I feel like Liv Morgan will beat Becky Lynch for the WWE Women's World Heavyweight Championship. All right, now we have Lyra Valkyria. Lyra Valkyria is set to fight in the finals of the Queen of the Ring against Nia Jax or Bianca Belair, no matter who she faces. Bianca Belair or Nia Jax, this is the ultimate underdog story because you have Lyra Valkyrie recently drafted in the WWE draft by Monday Night Raw. She's proved herself a formidable, amazing superstar talent that is, which makes me think that, all right, although, kind of like one of those things that, us wrestling fans only understand that she's achieved so much to get to where she's at. If she loses, it's going to be thought as a win. It's going to be like as if she won the Queen of the Ring. She doesn't get the title shot, but, if Nia Jax moves forward and she fights, she's going to be able to fight Bayley at SummerSlam, because the winner of the King and Queen of the Ring gets title shots at SummerSlam. So it could be a possibility that Bianca wins Nia Jax tonight on SmackDown. There's a possibility. And I'm only saying that solely because I know Bianca and Bayley have had a lot of tension, a lot of animosity between the two. So honestly, it'd be kind of cool to see Bianca Belair become the Queen of the Ring, defeating Lyra Valkyria. But if Nia Jax wins and she fights Bayley, I don't really see them obviously Nia Jax is the best ultimate heel, and you have her against Bayley at SummerSlam. Bayley's going to get a huge attention as the babyface. Maybe what WWE kind of wants to kind of establish herself after WrestleMania 40 when she found out that Damage Control was being run by Dakota Kai and Io Sky, the Kabuki Warriors, and Kai got her the hell out of there, beat the crap out of her, but ultimately centered her to babyface, but ultimately creating this new, depiction of Bayley in terms of character development. So, definitely love that. So now we have Gunther. Gunther in the finals of the King of the Ring. He's going to fight either Randy Orton or Tama Tonga. I think it's smart if, I think Tama Tonga would have made sense if Jey Uso would have beat Gunther on Monday Night Raw. But since you have Gunther winning, representing Monday Night Raw, the ring general, the dominance, the power, the only way this match is going to actually be badass and last longer than 5 or 10 minutes is if the legend killer, the Viper Randy Orton, moves on. So, you kind of have the experienced veteran against the young rising star that's still, kind of experienced as a veteran. Gunther is, he's an amazing superstar. He's absolutely dominant. I love the way he dictates and kind of holds himself inside the squared circle. He knows how to develop a match. He knows how to develop a promo. And ultimately, he knows how to develop himself as a total badass. So it'd be no surprise if Gunther faces either of these guys. You're going to see him defeat either one of these guys and move forward for a match against Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes against Logan Paul. I love Logan Paul, but I really see no reason for Cody Rhodes losing this match. This match is ultimately kind of was a way that you have one of the biggest social media presence in the whole entire world, Logan Paul. And I think Jake Paul's going to be there as well. So now you have them, the tandem, the brother, the duos, or whatever you like to call them, the Paul brothers. And then you have Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes, the ultimate babyface. Love Cody Rhodes. Heart of a lion. Eye of the tiger. He's going to retain his WWE Undisputed Championship. So there's not really a surprise there. And it's going to be one of those things where although Logan Paul's going to lose, he's going to be ultimately a formidable opponent for Cody Rhodes. So in a way, he's going to kind of win. Kind of like the whole Lyra Valkyria kind of thing. So guys, we are currently almost out of time. I have about a couple minutes left. But we're going to move on. Going overtime, baby. Overtime. No, I'm just kidding. We're going to wrap this up right quick. Forgive me if I seem like I'm kind of pushing myself out the door here. So, hey, stay tuned. Thank you for tuning into the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast. We have our fifth and final segment. We have our wrestling news roundup, where we find out the hottest wrestling news in the professional wrestling industry. Something that I kind of like to give you guys headed into the weekend on Saturday and Sunday, where you guys will miss me dearly. totally waiting pins and needles for Monday at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern time for your boy E. Come back on YouTube. So yeah, it's so we have moving forward. So yeah, we're gonna talk about a wrestling news roundup. So wrestling news, we have Matthew Jackson of the EVPs of the Elite says that people take advantage of the AEW, and honestly, I totally agree with that. Double or Nothing was AEW's first pay-per-view. They've come a long way, and Matthew Jackson had this to say: "It's a big night." And I quote: "5 years ago, we welcomed AEW to a new world of wrestling. Um, People need to accept the fact of how fast this company honestly really grown. I know a lot of people love to throw that narrative of, AEW is just like WCW. No, it's not. No, it's not. WCW, it was like from the Jim Crockett promotions. They got a whole bunch of they got Lex Luthor, Razor Ramon, Hulk Hogan, Kevin Nash. They got a whole bunch of veterans and stuff like that. AEW did it all from scratch. AEW didn't have they had they of course there was a couple of veterans, of course there was a couple of guys from the professional wrestling free agency that they signed ultimately just because they were free agents, dude. That doesn't necessarily mean they want to recapture something inside of like a nostalgic fact inside of a wrestling fan's mind. They honestly they have young, they have middle, and they have some of the old veterans kind of helping out. And AEW, honestly, I feel like it is a little stepped on. Honestly, it is a little taken advantage. And also, a lot of people like to pin the AEW against WWE. And you kind of see Tony Khan saying this when he, talks about why he takes jabs at WWE is to kind of, build tension between the companies. But to be honest, you can tell Tony Khan doesn't really care. He doesn't care what WWE fans like. Oh, I don't want to watch AEW. It's not wrestling. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't care. He's not fighting like Eric Bischoff was fighting so delicately and was fighting so no not delicate like aggressively wanting to take down WWE. Tony Khan doesn't want to do that. He has his own wrestling promotion. He has his own guys. He has his own wrestling beautiful world it's putting on great wrestling shows. So I don't think he gives a damn about ratings in terms of like WWE. So definitely side with Matthew Jackson in terms of that. Next, we have a WWE King and Queen of the Ring in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. We'll have an honored celebrity actor, and I'm going to butcher this, Ibrahim Al-Hajjaz. Will be featured in a promo. I can, obviously you saw him, in Crown Jewel on, the Miz TV where he laid an elbow on Grayson Waller. You'll probably see something a little like this, and that's just to kind of pander to like the Saudi Arabian kind of crowd, like you know what I mean. Like it'd be kind of like having, like George Clooney or someone like randomly come in here and be like, oh, like he beats the crap out of him, kind of like stuff like that. Like, but it's cool. It's cool. That's kind of what WWE does. So, not really surprised we're going to see that. Next, we see WWE SummerSlam coming to Minnesota in 2026. It's a two-night event. The first time SummerSlam has ever been a two-night event. And, just just SummerSlam making it to Minneapolis isn't really the speculation, isn't really like, that preposterous or like, kind of mind-blowing. But it's the fact that what kind of layers behind it. A lot of people kind of had speculation that since SummerSlam, the biggest party of the summer, also one of the biggest events in WWE history, making it a two-night event will overly compensate for WrestleMania going to Saudi Arabia, which kind of makes sense because it'd be like, okay, since we don't have WrestleMania here, we'll treat SummerSlam, we'll make it a two-night event, and we will treat it as if it is WrestleMania. So I feel like that's a huge reason why they are doing it. A lot of the professional wrestling world on Twitter is going absolutely nuts about this. A lot of people don't want to see WWE WrestleMania going to Saudi Arabia because think about it, that's airfare, that's hotel, that's tickets, packages, and stuff like that. You got to pay for lodging. It's going to be a huge pain in the ass. It's going to be a huge pain in the ass for a wrestling fan to ultimately make it across seas to Saudi Arabia to watch a Saudi Arabia producted WrestleMania. And I'm not trying to throw shade in. I'm not trying to say it's going to be bad. Overall, I'm just, trying to play the both sides, trying to see overall it could be good for international aspect of it. Saudi Arabia, the UK, Germany, and Japan are huge fans of of the WWE. Besides the United States, they're the top four. They're the top four viewers in terms of region, in terms of in terms of countries, in terms of continents. So it doesn't really surprise me that WWE will want to take it international, but it's kind of interesting to kind of ponder this whole thing about, WWE SummerSlam. So next we have Mercedes Moné. She claimed that the WWE ultimately handcuffed her, ultimately kind of put her in a bad space. And it was a huge reason why her and Naomi did walk out in May of 2022. So, and I remember watching that. I remember watching Mercedes Moné and Naomi. I thought it was fake. Obviously, there was huge backdrop behind it. There was some truth to it, which is the reason why wrestling could be so great. Because sometimes you're looking at it, you're like, oh, dude, that's not real. And then lo and behold, Mercedes Moné was truly upset with the way WWE Creative was handling her character, and she should be. She should be. That's the reason why a lot of these women's wrestlers, like Ronda Rousey, said writers in the WWE during the Vince McMahon era did put next to nothing, put marshmallows. They didn't do shit like crap. They didn't do crap for the women's division, their character development and stuff like that. So obviously Mercedes Moné was right. She was great to walk out of WWE, and she felt she wanted to make women's wrestling like overly globalized, which she's doing really well on AEW. Obviously, you have AEW with Ring of Honor. Sometimes they have partnerships with Impact Wrestling. So yeah. Next we have Vince Russo. Vince Russo, formerly, he was in the Attitude Era. He was one of the top writers for WCW. He was featured on WCW, with Eric Bischoff, during the, Monday Night Wars where WCW were doing their thing. But ultimately, he said CM Punk is definitely not someone that WWE should invest stock in because he's injury ridden. I don't really necessarily agree with that per se because CM Punk, he is definitely a little seasoned. I'm not gonna lie. Like I said, I like to keep it real. I like to kind of acknowledge both sides here. I understand where Vince is coming from, and then I also would understand what CM Punk's backlash could possibly be. Because ever since CM Punk joined AEW, he's been featured in matches that included like blood, chairs, steel cage, being thrown off of ladders, and basically all the above. So CM Punk, I feel like he still has a lot of good years ahead of him. It's probably not decades, but CM Punk, he and the WWE Universe, when he came back and he ultimately stood in front of the WWE Universe and he was like, look, guys, I effed up. I effed up. I had that pipe bomb. I missed you guys. I should have been here this whole entire time. And I'm not saying that Punk's stint or his few years in AEW was, you know, problematic or like he shouldn't have been there. But I still feel like I think Vince is wrong. I think Russo's wrong. I think CM Punk is gonna come back bigger and stronger than ever. So definitely can't wait. Waiting on pins and needles to find him and Drew McIntyre finally going at it. And lastly, just before you guys move on, totally went over time and I apologize. Bailey names AEW star that she wants to face. She picks Chris Statlander. Chris Statlander is definitely, she's been international. She's been kind of assessed as well as like a Willow Nightingale, and it kind of just made me think about it. I was like, that's crazy because Willow Nightingale, I've often made this comparison on podcasts and stuff like that. That she kind of throws like that baby face that like she runs around the ring. She's a total baby face. She was like Bailey before Bailey became the ultimate heel that she was, creating damage control. Chris Statlander, obviously one of the best women's wrestlers nationwide. She's been in a lot of independent promotions all over New York, all over. I think, and don't quote me on this, I think she also wrestled in Florida. I could be wrong. I could be tripping. But she ultimately ended up on AEW. Chris Statlander, she's a great superstar. So I would honestly love to kind of see that match. Obviously they kind of still have the best way that they can kind of fight each other, be part of like a wrestling kind of beautiful just like it's like a symphony. Wrestling is a symphony and it's absolutely awesome. And yeah. I have a little fettuccine against 68, and my man. What happened tonight on SmackDown? Can you give me a quick? I have not actually seen SmackDown. I just hit a preview of it. I'm a dork. I'm sorry. Like whenever like I watch wrestling and I can't watch it I record it, I have it on my DVR, and I'm going to start it from the beginning. I will not forbid myself from checking Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook because I want to be surprised. I love that ultimate, surprising aspect of it. So yeah, totally run out of time. Sorry guys. Let's go ahead and, finish this up real quick. We have my boy Emran on with the soccer podcast, so stay tuned. You soccer fans out there, this guy, very knowledgeable young man, very good at what he does. But, obviously I have to say goodbye. Thank you for tuning in to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Your support means a lot to us, so please remember to Superman punch that like and subscribe button to the show. Show support, give me positive feedback, or if you have to, throw some negative shade, bro, but just keep it moderate. I can handle it. I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. Give me your opinions. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. This is our podcast. We're a wrestling fandom. We belong together. We belong together. So it really does make a difference, guys. So, don't be afraid to, comment, like, subscribe, chat, watch the show after, give me your opinions about it. And we also invite you to like us on Twitter/X, Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram, so you guys can get more content and updates. Like I said before, if I have not made you a wrestling fan by now, we have a bunch of sports shows. We have Sports with TJ and Jeremy. We have the Chip Shot Football Podcast with Manny, Football Podcast with Kenneth. We also have Hoops and Heels, your one-stop shop for women's sports with Samantha. We have the Andrew Tate Show. We just have shows. The NBA playoffs are absolutely heating up. You're going to get the best content, the best takes, and the hottest stats analysis from my boy Nelson from the GSMC Basketball Podcast. So make sure you stay into that. We have my boy Chris on fantasy. We just podcast sports. So don't be afraid to check that out. Be a part of this GSMC Sports bloodline that I love so much. So once again, thank you guys so much. Have a lovely Memorial weekend. Stay safe. Love you. Hope to see you Monday at 8 p.m. So hey, stay beautiful.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet. Damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go to Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet. Damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go to